Hey, this is Brooks with Character Design Forge. I want to get a quick thank you in at the beginning here for 40,000 subscribers, over 1 million video views. That's staggering and incredible to me. As a thank you to you for your support, tomorrow morning, Friday morning, I'm launching a brand new weekly show on this channel. It's called Character Select. It's co-hosted by my friend Mark, and Patreon supporters have already seen a sneak peek of this, and they'll continue to get new episodes a week early. This new show will not be replacing Character Design Forge videos in any way. This will be an additional video each week, and the overall point of this show is a little less educational, I guess, in the traditional sense, but it's still very much about character design. It's a lot of fun to put together, and I think it'll be entertaining for you guys. And actually, the idea of fun, creative work is sort of what I have in mind for today's video. This is a super episode of sorts. I've wanted to talk about each of the individual things in this episode before, but I'm lumping them together because I think it makes a lot of sense. The idea is getting fulfillment and balancing out your creative work and creative career. Fulfillment is a difficult thing to find, feeling like you're successful, that you're making good work, feeling accomplished, and feeling like it's really your work, that you're really saying what you want to say. So this video is meant to be a kind of guide for that journey. So how to find fulfillment, how to find balance, how to prioritize things. The best way that I have to communicate this is with this chart. And it shouldn't be spinning, that's kind of muddling things. So this chart is split into 4 sections. Now up and down, we're measuring progress, and side to side, we're measuring comfort. So there are 3 positive things that you want to be aiming for in this circle, and pretty obviously you might notice that bottom one is going to be things that you want to avoid. So let's start with the rightmost quarter of this circle, which represents skill. So skill works as an amplifier. It's what helps you to communicate well with others and for others to appreciate what you make. When it comes to creative work, investing time in your skills is like a long-term investment in your fulfillment. So skill is on the right side of our comfort slider. And the reason for that is, in order to improve your skills, in order to deliberately practice, you need to be doing the things that are most uncomfortable for you when it comes to skill. So if your practice always involves you doing the things that are easy for you, then you're not going to be making progress in any meaningful way. Now, our circle is divided into 4 parts, but that doesn't mean literally devoting 25% of your efforts or time to each of these things. It just doesn't work out that way. I would say, however, the less experienced you are, the newer you are at your creative work, the more time you should be devoting to skill. Like I said before, this is like an investment, a long-term investment in your creative fulfillment. Now, this top quarter of our circle represents recognition, traditional success, financial success, or popularity. It's nice to be recognized and appreciated for the work you make, and it's nice to be paid to do so. But I don't think that this portion of our circle is actually the most important when it comes to fulfillment. That honor is reserved for this leftmost quarter, which I'm calling soul. So not only is this the most comfortable work to be doing, it's also the most fulfilling. This isn't the work that other people are asking you to do. It's not even the work that you think other people want you to be doing. This is work made in your voice. It's made up of the core things that you keep coming back to, the elements and aesthetics you always use, and it's drawn from your personality and experience as well. So as a point of reference for you to sort of figure out what this artistic voice is, what I've boiled it down to for me is I like making work that is delightful. Usually this involves some kind of adorable creatures or animals. And I like this basis in a natural world or a very simplistic one. I also like to counterbalance that with a sense of adventure or mystery or danger or the unknown. And from a storytelling standpoint, I like to talk about creativity. I like telling stories that involve creativity and not exactly from the most obvious standpoints. I'll probably talk about that more at some other point. Now, to arrive at this conclusion, it involves a lot of things. First of all, thinking, deep thinking and reflection on what it is you want to make and really why it is you want to make it. It involves a lot of honesty, too, with yourself. Maybe going back to a really young age and figuring out what things have always excited you or interested you. But it doesn't just involve this thinking and meditation. It involves really proving to yourself too that this is the stuff you really want to make. So it involves doing this and kind of iterating on what your voice is through your work. The final quarter of our circle is something I'll call nothing, or the dead zone, because this is an area of things that you want to avoid because they just aren't fulfilling. So this involves things like making things that you think other people want you to be making, but getting little to no enjoyment out of it. I talked about this a little bit in my video called the fan art trap. So instead of just making the things that you enjoy, fan art of the things that you enjoy, but strategically mapping out what things will be most popular and what things you think people will like the most, but not really enjoying it, there's nothing inherently wrong with that, but are you being fulfilled by it? Is that really something where you're finding creative fulfillment and joy in doing, or are you just kind of working through the motions of being popular? Another aspect to avoid is doing free work or spec work for someone. This is where you don't necessarily believe in someone's project, but for whatever reason you feel pressured into doing free work for someone, and this is just a drain on your time and effort, and you're building someone else up without any benefit to yourself. And another thing is imitating another artist's voice disingenuously. Now there's a difference here between academically studying someone else's work, trying to replicate their work, a really old video of mine called Steal an Artist's Power by Copying Their Work. There's a difference between that and imitating them because you want to achieve the same thing that they have. It's like doing an impression of someone. No matter how good it is, it's still not you. You might get some success doing this, but I'm saying it's not as fulfilling as really speaking from your own artistic voice. And that's kind of the point of all of this. Yes, you can gain some success from these things, but is it actually fulfilling for you? And you might have reached a point with your art or your creative work where you're just not getting the same amount of fun or fulfillment out of it. And it might be because you're just not in touch with what your artistic voice is, or you've become a part of this self-imposed popularity contest. Okay, so knowing what we do about this bottom part of the circle, we want to instead focus on the other three things. And you might be able to think of what the ideal path here would be, right? It's where you load up, front load on your skills, immediately become amazing, start doing work that you love that's this soul aspect, and then that also gets you the recognition and career and financial compensation and everything. But as you probably know from your own experience, it's just never that ideal. It's a much more winding path than that. And these three things are of course separate, because as great as it would be to find constant work that is challenging and fulfilling to your artistic voice and covering your bills, usually instead it's a trade-off, and it's up to you to balance how much you take on of each of these things. So if you need to improve your skills, focus on that. Make that your priority. If your practice isn't giving you the results that you were hoping it would, make sure that you're making yourself uncomfortable and focusing on the things that are uncomfortable for you to do. If you're already at a professional level but you don't have enough clients or a job, you need to figure that stuff out. You can't just be spending the time working on only the things that you love, expecting for that to become a career all in itself. All of this is way easier said than done, but a lot of times creatives don't get to make a career or a living off of that passionate, soulful voice of their own until later on in their career. And of course, I think most importantly, if you're starting to feel that burnout or gray out where the work that you're doing just isn't enjoyable or fulfilling anymore, try and get back in touch with that artistic voice, or figure out what that voice is. Maybe set aside some time and make a personal piece that reflects those things that are important to you. Overall, I hope this guide is helpful. I encourage you to keep coming back to it as soon as you start experiencing some trouble in any of these aspects. Once again, tomorrow is the launch of a brand new show on this channel. It's called Character Select. It's a little more long form and relaxed than the other videos that I make. The point of the show is that we develop on the spot the most ridiculous game character that we can, like one from a competitive multiplayer game. So we each start with 3 ideas, and then over the course of the episode, we have to incorporate the other person's ideas into the character. At the end of the episode, I do an illustration of the character, and you can watch the time lapse of that as well. So this has been a lot of fun for us to make, and sort of in the same vein as this video, very fulfilling to make as well. So I really hope you guys enjoy it. I'm excited to see your reaction to it. That's it for me today. I'm making new videos every week at Character Design Forge. My course, Learn Character Design, is a comprehensive character design curriculum with over 10 hours of content. Head over to learncharacterdesign.com to learn more about that. If you've ever been entertained or educated by the videos that I make, head over to patreon.com/bageldenizen. There you can see exclusive videos like the one on this channel just for Patreon supporters. And what I'm working on right now is getting them the new episodes of Character Select a week ahead of time. Thank you for watching, and have fun creating.